What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my full card breakdown and prediction video for UFC Vegas 99. We have Anthony Hernandez going against Michel Pereira. We are right back in the Apex for a very fun card. Very fun main event especially. I'm really looking forward to this main event. I've been looking forward to it for a while now. These two were supposed to fight on the Sphere card. But yeah, now we're getting 5 rounds of this fight, which is even better. So yeah, I can't wait to break it all down. Before we get into it all, if you guys could do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. All 3 of those things go a very long way. And then yeah, this video is brought to you by Prize Picks. If you guys use that code there, you see it right above me, DFSBTN, you'll get $50 instantly on Prize Picks when you play your first $5 lineup. Whether you lose it or whether you hit it, $50 instantly into your Prize Picks account. And now's a great time to sign up on Prize Picks because I have a free square for you guys. I don't know one thing about basketball. I don't know who the hell Anthony Edwards is, but one thing I know for sure is I think this guy can get 1 point. I think this guy can absolutely get 1 point. So they have the points for Edwards set at 0.5. Just needs to get 1. So use that free square. I'm probably going to use the free square with something for next week's card, the big pay-per-view. But you could use it this card, next week's card with something else. But yeah, use that code DFSBTN. Get yourself a free square. Get yourself a free $50 and check out Prize Picks. All right. With all that out of the way, we have some fights to talk about. We're going to kick it off with the first fight of the card. And I'm going to go back to my correct spot there. There I am. Okay. And we're going to kick it off with 2 heavyweights. It is Rebellis de Spain going against Austin Lane. This prediction might take a lot longer than the fight, to be honest, than the fight lasts, to be honest. But yeah, we'll talk about why. So de Spain, 36 years old, 6'7", with an 84-inch reach, 5-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We got Lane, 36 years old, 6'6", with an 80-inch reach, 12-5, and 2-2 in 1 no contest in his last 5 fights. We have Rebellis de Spain opening up minus 650. He is currently minus 355. And then we have Austin Lane opening up plus 475, and he is currently a plus 280 underdog. So yeah, Rebellis de Spain is somebody that has typically got in and got out of there, and more often than not outside of his last fight against Waldo Cortez Acosta. But before that, watching this guy outside the UFC, like taping this guy's fights took about 5 minutes outside of the Waldo Cortez Acosta fight. But yeah, we take a look at his wins here, and he has knockout wins in 12 seconds, a 3-second knockout, a 4-second knockout, and then an 18-second knockout against Josh Parisian. He has 4 knockout wins that are less than 30 seconds, less than 20 seconds, which is just insane. But it goes to show you the power that de Spain has in his hands and in his kicks as well. So I guess the big question here is Austin Lane going to be able to take down Rebellis de Spain? If he does, that's probably the round de Spain showed just an abysmal get-up game. But if not, if Austin Lane's not able to get this fight down to the mat, he's getting knocked out in the first round. Lane has 5 losses. All 5 of those come by knockout. 4 of those knockout losses come in the first round. 1 came in the second. That was against Denise when he was able to get a first round, just win the first round there. But yeah, I got to go to Spain here. I don't really see, I know it's a heavyweight fight, but I don't really see much of a path here for Lane outside of the wrestling, but I doubt he can keep it up past 7.5 minutes. So I'm going to Spain here. I'm going to Spain by first round knockout. All right, next we got Melissa Martinez going against Alice Ardeline. We got Martinez, 27 years old, 5'2", with a 64-inch reach, 7-1 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Ardeline, 32 years old, 5'3", with a 62-inch reach, 9-6 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Martinez opened up minus 175. She's currently minus 135. Ardeline opened up plus 150. She is currently a plus 115 underdog. Yeah, I don't know. Martinez is stepping in here on short notice. The last time we saw her was a couple years ago against Elise Reed, and I bet Elise Reed to beat Melissa Martinez, and that really should tell you, everything you need to know, because I will never, ever be betting on Elise Reed ever again, but I did in that matchup, and that's because Melissa Martinez, she struggles with the ground game. We actually saw Elise Reed go out there and take her down and control her, and why can't Elise Ardeline go out there and do exactly that? But one thing I gotta, bring caution to is we have not seen Martinez in 2 years. You gotta figure she's working on the takedown defense, the get-up game, and if we do see improvements in that area on the feet, it's Martinez all day. It's just, can she stuff a takedown? Last I've seen of her, no, she can't. If you're getting taken down Elise Reed, there's a serious problem. So I'll go Elise Ardeline. even think about touching this fight, but, I'll go Eldeen as far as a pick goes, and I'll pick her to win this fight by decision, but interesting to see if Martinez has made those improvements. Next, we have Elise Reed going against Jessica Penne. We got Reed, 31 years old, 5'3", with a 63-inch reach, 7-4, and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. Jessica Penne, 41 years old, 5'5", with a 67-inch reach, 14-7 and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. Elise Reed opened up -170, currently -175. Jessica Penne opened up +140, currently +150. Yeah, another close fight here. This is about as striker versus grappler as you're going to get. On the feet, Elise Reed's the much better striker. Penne doesn't have anything for Reed once the fight's standing, but on the mat, it's Jessica Penne all day. Elise Reed, the big knock on her is her ground game. One of the worst ground games in the UFC. She's been finished 4 times as a strawweight. All 4 of those losses come on the mat. We saw Sam Hughes TKO her in the 3rd round. She looked lost on the ground. We saw CR Eubanks TKO her in the 1st round. She looked lost. We saw Loma Lookboonmee submit Elise Reed in the 2nd round. Like, how does that even happen? And then we saw Lupe Godinez submit Elise Reed as well. So, yeah, Jessica Penne, black belt in BJJ, her grappling's actually really good, really slick on the mat. The problem with Penne is she's 41 years old. She's coming off of a major injury. She's coming off of a big layoff. She has no wrestling, but she can take the back standing, and if this fight hits the mat, the floor is lava here for Elise Reed. Her ground games looked atrocious, and Jessica Penne, that's her thing. She's really good on the mat. So, I see why. I actually don't see why people are laying chalk on Elise Reed. But yeah, if Reed wins this fight, it's probably her stuffing the takedowns, doing the better work on the feet. But Penne certainly does have a path here. Let's not kid ourselves if she does get this fight down to the mat. So I'll take the dog here in Jessica Penne to get the fight down to the ground and get a sub in the 1st round. So Jessica Penne, 1st round submission. Moving on, we got Jocelyn Edwards going against Tamarez Vidal. We got Jocelyn Edwards, 29 years old, 5'8", with a 70-inch reach, 13-6 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Vidal, 26 years old, 5'6", with a 68-inch reach, 7-3 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Edwards opened up -280, currently -260. Vidal opened up +240. She's currently +200. And yeah, it's hard to be super confident on Jocelyn Edwards because she goes to split decision in every single fight, but yeah, I think the price tag is kind of warranted here. I'm just not sure what Vidal's doing here. I'm not really sure what Tamarez Vidal's good at, to be honest. I think she has a ton of quit in her. I've seen her quit or look for ways out in multiple fights, including her last fight against Melissa Gatto, where she got punched in the tit and looked for a way out and cashed me a Gatto 3rd round prop. And yeah, I just can't trust Vidal. I don't trust the cardio. I don't trust the durability. I don't trust the heart. Nothing like that. So yeah, it should be Edwards just being better everywhere. I think Edwards is the better striker. I think Edwards is the better wrestler, the better grappler, even though Vidal, I think, is maybe a brown belt or a black belt even. But I just haven't seen it from Vidal. I haven't seen anything, to be honest. So yeah, maybe this fight goes the distance. Maybe this fight comes into the hands of the crooked, corrupt judges and they ruin it. But I got to go Edwards here, and I think Edwards is live for a potential finish, a potential quit job from Vidal in the 3rd round. So I'm gonna go Edwards 3rd round TKO, and we'll see what happens. Give me Edwards round 3 KO. Moving on. We got Gene Matsumoto going against Brad Katona. We got Matsumoto, 25 years old, 5'6", with a 68-inch reach, 15-0, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Katona, 32 years old, 5'6", with a 64.5-inch reach, 14-3 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We got Matsumoto opened up -240, currently -235. Katona opened up +205, currently +200. For me, it's a pretty easy pick here. It's Matsumoto. It's Matsumoto by decision. With that said, though, I do think it's going to be a lot more competitive than this line does indicate, more than likely. Katona is a really good fighter. I don't feel like he has many fans, just not the most exciting fighter. He's going to go out there, he's going to take the path to least resistance, which that's something you kind of like to see. Brad Katona, I think his fight IQ is really good. He knows how to win minutes, knows how to win fights. He's fought some really good guys, but, Matsumoto is going to be the much more active fighter on the feet, the much better striker. I feel like this could look a little bit like the Garrett Armfield fight, in which Katona actually lost that fight, which I don't think... there's no reason to lose that fight, in my opinion, for Katona because the path was so clear, but, I feel like it could look a little bit like that Armfield fight in a sense that Matsumoto probably does get taken down a couple times, but once his fight's on the feet, it's just going to be Matsumoto landing more, landing bigger, and if damage is the number one scoring criteria, which it should be. I mean, only one guy in this matchup's doing damage, and that's Matsumoto, right? But yeah, I think it does go to decision. I think it does go into the hands of the crooked, corrupt, blind judges. But I got to go Matsumoto to just do more damage and win this fight by decision. Next, we have a flyweight fight. It is Asu Amabayev going against Matheus Nicola. We got Amabayev, 30 years old, 5'4", with a 65-inch reach, 20-2, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Nicola, 31 years old, 5'6", with a 66-inch reach, 19-4-1, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We've got Amabayev opening up minus 350. He's currently minus 185, and then Nicola opening up plus 275. He's currently a plus 160 underdog. This is the fight I've probably struggled with the most because, Asu Amabayev has looked incredible. I think there's some hype starting to gain on this guy, but look at who he's fighting. He's fighting Jose Johnson with the worst takedown defense I've ever seen in my entire life. He's fighting CJ Vergara, who's okay, I guess, but just okay. He's fighting Ode Osborne, and he's looking great against all 3 of those guys, but this is going to be his first true test. I feel like people are very high on Amabayev, and I feel like people are very low on Nicolau because he got knocked out in his last 2 losses, but he got knocked out against, Alex Perez and Brandon Royval, 2 very, very high-level guys in the flyweight division. So, not saying Amabayev can't win this fight. Obviously, he's the favorite, but is he going to be able to take down Nicolau, who has elite takedown defense? Honestly, some of the best takedown defense in the division at 93%. Maybe. Is he going to be able to knock out Nicolau, who has no chin? Maybe. I mean, maybe. Nicolau's been knocked out in all 4 of his losses, but Amabayev, that's just not his game. So, I don't know. I feel like this fight can play out very, very closely, especially if Amabayev's not able to get takedowns here. So, yeah, I'm leaning with Nicolau here. It's hard to trust Nicolau, though. The chin is one thing, but I don't think he'll get knocked out here. And then the other thing is just the no volume. I mean, he's so good. I think he's well-rounded, good grappler, good takedown defense, really good striking. It's just he doesn't really do much in there. So it's always hard to be confident in Nicolau, which I'm not, but I'll pick him to win like a close decision, stuffing the takedowns, doing the better work on the feet. But yeah, this is a fight that I'll be honest, I did struggle with quite a bit. But yeah, give me Nicolau for the decision. Next, we have my favorite fight on the card. I love this fight. It's Daniel Pineda going against Darren Elkins. We got Daniel Pineda, 39 years old, 5'7" with a 69-inch reach, 28-16, and 1-3-1 no contest in his last 5 fights. As far as Elkins, 40 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach, 28-11, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We have Daniel Pineda opening up minus 175, currently minus 120, and then Darren Elkins open up plus 150, currently plus 100. Looks like this line might even potentially flip. We'll see, but yeah, I'm kind of seeing this fight as like a Daniel Pineda early, Darren Elkins late type situation here. And Darren Elkins still at 40 years old, still very, very tough, very hard to put away. But Pineda's going to be super dangerous early. Pineda's a very dangerous grappler. He has a ton of power. But if he's not able to get Elkins out of there in that first round, we've seen Daniel Pineda just look awful as the fight goes on. And I think, he's been bailed out his last 2 fights. He was like looking for the door in the Alex Caceres fight. He was running away. He looked hurt. He looked awful. And Caceres was literally just like shadow boxing in front of him instead of getting the finish. And then against Nathaniel Wood actually loses the 3rd round somehow to Daniel Pineda, but yeah, Caceres is not a finisher, doesn't push any type of pace, has no urgency, and then Nathaniel Wood's not a finisher at all, and Nathaniel Wood's a bantamweight, so I feel like if Pineda does start to gas out here like he has been, I feel like Elkins is not going to let him off the hook, so yeah, could Pineda hurt him early, potentially, and probably does, but if he doesn't get him out of there, I think Elkins is going to cook this guy. I think he's going to take him down, rinse and repeat, beat up on him, and eventually knock him out or submit him in the 3rd round. So I'm going Darren Elkins, one last ride to win this fight by 3rd round knockout. All right, next we have a short notice replacement. Cameron Smotherman is stepping in for Brady Heastan, which sucks. I loved the Heastan-Hadley fight, but it is what it is. We got Hadley, 28 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, 11-3, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Cameron Smotherman is 27 years old, 5'9", with a 69-inch reach, 11-4, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So it looks like we just recently got odds on this fight, and we have Jake Hadley around minus 400, and we have Smotherman around plus 3 330 or something. So Hadley is a big favorite here. I was actually probably going with he stand in their original matchup, but this just changes everything. So Smotherman coming in here on short notice. He did fight on the Contender Series. He got knocked out in the first minute against Gregorio, a guy that I think has been cut, or if not, he's probably getting cut soon. But yeah, so the chin of Smotherman, very questionable, but most importantly, the takedown defense, the get-up game is just non-existent. I think it's a great matchup for Jake Hadley to go out there and really win however he wants. I think Smotherman, his striking is really good in his own right. He has a lot of power. But yeah, the chin, like I said, the chin's not great. Hadley could potentially knock him out. But I think the path to least resistance here for Hadley would be, taking Smotherman down. Takedowns will come easy, and then once on the ground, I think Hadley's just going to have a big advantage in terms of the BJJ. So I like Hadley here. I think Hadley's probably going to make this look fairly easy. I'll say second round submission for Jake Hadley. All right, so next we have another fun fight here. We got Charles Johnson going against Sumari. We got Johnson, 33 years old, 5'9", with a 70-inch reach, 16-6, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Sumari, 28 years old, 5'8", with a 72-inch reach, 16-6, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Charles Johnson, pretty big favorite, which you don't see too often. He opened up -170. He's currently sitting at -225. Sumari opening up at +145. He's currently sitting as a +190 underdog. And I think a lot of that has to do with just how good Charles Johnson's been looking. He pulled off a nice upset win in his last fight against Joshua Van. And another reason is just he has a clear path to victory here to make this look just so easy against Sumari, and that's going to be the grappling. So Sumari, everybody knows it by now. He struggles with the grappling, the takedown defense. He has 6 losses. All 6 of those losses come by submission. Charles Johnson has no submission wins in the UFC, but he does have a lot of submission attempts. He does have a good front choke series. Has good wrestling as well, and you're bound to. Like Charles Johnson, everybody's trying to take this guy down, especially when he first got into the UFC. Everybody's trying to take him down. He's probably been working on the wrestling nonstop. I think he's learned some things, and he can wrestle in his own right. So I feel like if Charles Johnson does mix in the takedowns here, does push a fast pace, a high pace, I feel like he can, slow Sumari down as the fight goes on. I don't think Sumari has the best cardio. And then if this fight does hit the mat, it's like Charles Johnson's probably subbing this guy fairly easily. But what I'm worried about, though, is if Charles Johnson goes out there and tries to strike with Sumari for 15 minutes, he's not looking like -225. It's probably looking to pick him at best. Sumari is a really good striker, a lot of power for the division. So I'm just hoping Charles Johnson can come in here, mix the martial arts a bit, drag the fight down to the mat at some point, and submit Sumari. So I'm going Charles Johnson. Give me Charles Johnson to win this fight by second round submission. All right, co-main event. It is Kyler Phillips going against Rob Font. We got Kyler Phillips, 29 years old, 5'8", with a 72-inch reach, 12-2. And 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Rob Font, 37 years old, 5'8", with a 71.5-inch reach, 20-8, and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Kyler Phillips, I believe, is the biggest favorite on the card. Opened at -225. He's currently -450. And then Rob Font opened up +190. He's currently +325. Yeah, this should be Phillips all day. I think Rob Font's trending towards being on his way out. And I think Phillips can just win this fight wherever it goes. On the feet, probably competitive minute for minute, but it's going to be the moments of Kyler Phillips. Rob Font's been wobbling all across the cage his last couple fights, getting hurt with everything that lands. Tough dude, don't get me wrong, but just the durability for Rob Font seems to be diminishing a little bit. Kyler Phillips also has an easy, clear path of taking down Rob Font, who can't stuff a takedown or get up if taken down. So yeah, I think Phillips could win this fight by any which method. Could be a knockout, could be a sub, could be a decision. I'll lean decision because Rob Font's tough, but yeah, I think Phillips gets it done, and the line certainly does indicate that. And now we get the main event. It is Anthony Hernandez going against Michel Pereira. We've got Hernandez, 31 years old, 6 foot with a 75-inch reach, 12-2, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Pereira, 31 years old, 6'1" with a 73-inch reach, 31-11, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Hernandez opened up -200. He's currently -135. Pereira opened up +170. He is currently +115. And yeah, I'm kind of looking at this fight kind of like the Pineda Elkins fight, to be honest. Like Pereira early, Hernandez late. I think Pereira, this guy has 3 wins in the middleweight division. All 3 of those wins come in about 60 seconds. And Hernandez is a guy that if he can last like the first 5 to 7.5 minutes here, I think he's going to really start to put it on Michel Pereira, who we've seen gas plenty of times in the past. I don't think the cardio of Michel Pereira is that great. I've seen multiple people say that Michel Pereira's cardio is much better at middleweight, which that makes no sense. He's only fought 3 minutes total in 3 fights, but I mean, maybe they're right. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like if this fight reaches the second round, 1.5 round mark, it's Hernandez all day. It's just can he make it there? We've seen Hernandez finished early in the past by Kevin Holland. We've seen him hurt to the body multiple times. Maybe Pereira can do that, but I just kind of think there's a really short window for Michel Pereira to win this fight. And if he doesn't do it early, I think Hernandez is going to probably cook him here, take him down, rinse and repeat, get him tired, and then eventually finish him in the third round. So I like Hernandez here. Probably a good live bet spot for sure. But yeah, I like Hernandez to get it done. I'll say third round submission for Anthony Hernandez. Should be a fun main event, though, and I'm looking forward to it. Yep. I think that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Do me a favor, like on your way out, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys are agreeing with, not agreeing with. If you guys want to support me more, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Probably not going to have a ton of bets this week, but we got UFC 308 next week, a ton of spots sticking out early there. And yeah, other than that, final thoughts video Friday, betting breakdown video as well, and then best bet Saturday as always. Best of luck, guys, for UFC Vegas 99, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.